Where did Bungie go?
Bungie was once the most admired game studio in the world.
One of the most eagerly
This is true.
awaited video games finally goes on sale.
We got it! Woo! Sniper, sniper!
But today, Bungie is unrecognizable.
Bungie is cooked. This is like watching a train wreck in slow motion.
They are struggling right now, looking like me trying to reach the top shelf in my pantry.
Basically, steals assets from a singular lone artist without permission.
220 roles are being eliminated from Bungie.
Marathon could be the death of Bungie.
The people who made the company legendary have quietly left, one after another, like pieces of a puzzle falling away. What pushed Bungie's developers out of the door? Where did these amazing people go? And how did the studio that created Halo end up releasing a game like Marathon, a game that looks to be dead on arrival? Well, it all starts
I like the premise of this video already.
with Alex Seropian, the founder of Bungie. Now, Alex founded the company all the way back in
Where is this guy? Alex Seropian? I feel like I've vaguely heard this name once. This guy founded the company. Where's he at? What happened to Alex Seropian?
1991, long before Master Chief existed, long before Xbox was even an idea. He was just a college kid in a dorm room making a simple game called Gnop.
This is the game he made? They made Gnop. Is this game just ripping off Pong? I'm just saying the plagiarism roots go deep. I'm just kidding. That's too far. No, I'm not. That's not too far. I'm kidding. Maybe it is. Sorry. Listen, there's actually a good element of not plagiarism, but when you are starting something, you tend to emulate those that you like. Like, I'll give you a good example. If you started a stream right now or a YouTube channel, you would probably, if you watched my stuff a lot, you would probably have, the camera in the corner like this. You're not necessarily stealing from me. You'd probably, you do things very similar to like you emulate for a little bit, right? I go back to my earlier statement. The plagiarism roots go deep. We started off with plagiarism and we end with plagiarism. Is that what's happening here?
Duty. And instead of just uploading it somewhere random, Alex did something wild. He self-published it under the name Bungie. Just him, a floppy disk, and a mailing list.
Dude, I missed the floppy disks. Man, I remember I was in middle school and I had to go to computer class. That's right, a class on computers. And we had to take the little floppy disk in and you could slide the little thing right there. You'd slide it across and there would literally be a floppy, like black disk in there. And I remember fucking with it. Because I was like, I wonder if if I fuck with this thing and put it back in the computer, will it be fucked up? It actually didn't fuck up it didn't fuck it up. I think you had to scratch it pretty bad.
That was it. Talk about...
I was in middle school. That's my excuse. I was a middle schooler. So that's the reason why I was doing that.
Some indie roots. In this moment, Bungie was born. Not as a studio, but as a mindset. To build stuff Alex was passionate about. Soon after he published his first game, he met another student, Jason Jones, the other co-founder of Bungie we know. Jason at the time was coding an ambitious multiplayer game called Minotaur, and together they created some great games, from Pathways into Darkness to Marathon. Alex and Jason shaped Bungie into a team that punched way above its weight. They were a small crew with big ambitions, and the company became known for games that felt different, that were special. Bungie wasn't printing money yet. This wasn't the golden days of Bungie that we all know. And by the late 90s, they were running low on cash. Alex saw the writing on the wall. Bungie was going to survive. If Halo was going to be what it could be, he had to make a bold move. So he sold Bungie to Microsoft. That one decision saved the company and made Halo the crown jewel of the Xbox for 2 decades. But for Alex,
that decision saved their company. Remember that, because the history changed quite a bit when they left, right? That decision saved their company and made Halo what it was.
That was the finish line. After Halo shipped, he quietly stepped away. And that's the thing people forget. Jason Jones didn't start Bungie. Alex Seropian did. And he didn't just build Bungie with Jason, he saved it. And when his work was done, he let go. Then there's Joseph Staten.
Bro, he just dipped. Alex Seropian, where is he at? He's out there living on an island collecting some royalty check. Alex Seropian, if you're watching this right now, we need you back.
A truly loved man in the Halo community and by me. Joseph gave Halo its soul. He crafted its iconic story. He wrote its dialogue and gave the universe this unique voice. But then out of nowhere, in 2013, he walked away from Bungie. And he wasn't the only one. Next came Marcus Leto. Joseph might have given Halo its story, but Marcus defined its look. He designed the architecture, the environments, and the most famously, Master Chief himself. Fans and industry peers have often called Marcus the father of Master Chief. Talk about some talent, having created one of the most iconic gaming characters of all time. But like Joseph, he left in...
Why are they leaving? We need to assemble this Avengers team to make Destiny 3. Get all of these Halo people back together. Get all of the OG Destiny 1 people back together. Get them all back, the Avengers, and then launch Destiny 3, please. They all get a bag. They get a massive bag. They get like this $100 million check and royalties for life. And they're like, you know what? I ain't got time for this shit anymore. They're like, I'll see you in the motherfucking Bahamas. All right? I ain't got time for video games. I ain't got time for Twitter. I got time for drama. They're out of here, dude.
2012, and another domino fell for Bungie. And then the music stopped. Marty O'Donnell, the legendary composer behind Halo's unforgettable soundtracks, the man that gave us this.
Absolutely goated. This man, Marty O'Donnell, love him or hate him, GOAT status for creating this. Not gonna lie. I used to play Call of Duty, and I booted up Halo, and I was like, what the fuck? This game's different. You play Call of Duty for a few years, and then you boot up this for the first time, you're like, oh shit, it's a whole nother feel.
Was fired. And the story gets worse. Jamie Geismer, who shaped Halo's core gameplay, the feel of its weapons, the enemies, the iconic level design, left in 2010. Mark Hoberman, the mind behind Halo's innovative multiplayer and UI, left in 2006. And Harold Ryan, who had climbed from test manager all the way up to president of Bungie, left in 2016. What the
Yeah, damn, that guy climbed from janitor to the president? That's actually insane, dude. The fucking come up. And Pete Parsons, this guy was the janitor, and then he became the president, and Pete Parsons was appointed CEO afterwards from this guy?
I left in 2006. And Harold Ryan,
dude, worked his way up the fucking ladder, dude. And then since he dipped, it's been Pete Parsons ever since. And obviously Pete, Pete had a pretty neutral reputation for a long time until they found out about his car collection. And then some people were leaking saying that he was saying some mean things behind closed doors, but that's still not confirmed, but probably true considering how many sources said that he was saying some crazy shit. Some bootstrap stuff, type stuff right here, dude. This guy doesn't look like your typical Bungie employee either. This guy looks fucking, he's got jacked. He's looking different, dude. Why did they all leave? They get paid so much money, they just dip. That's the key. Don't let them get rich, all right? They get too rich. They get way too rich. They start getting that Pete Parsons car collection, and then they're out of here, They're gone.
who had climbed from test manager all the way up to president of Bungie, left in 2016. What the hell was happening at Bungie? It's impossible to deny a pattern here. Bungie was losing its lifeblood, its core talent, piece by piece. And it kept going. Michael Salvatore, Marty's
Oh, hell no. This one still hurts.
composer who created those iconic Halo scores alongside him, he left in 2023. Lorraine McLeese, the artist who designed the Halo logo itself, also left in 2023. Now just one
She made the actual Halo logo. Damn.
original member from the old Bungie days remains. Jason Jones, Bungie's other co-founder. He's still there, just quietly working in the background. Everyone else, the creative force behind Halo's groundbreaking success, what made Bungie, they're gone. This company, once known as the rebellious underdog of game development.
They didn't even mention all the Destiny guys. They didn't mention Luke Smith, Mark Noseworthy, Joe Blackburn, Christopher Barrett. Those were all the directors that oversaw all the creative vision for all the different worlds and stuff,
has become a corporate giant, a behemoth that looks to have lost nearly all of its original.
There's Deej. Look at this screenshot here. Everyone dressed like kind of normal except this guy. I don't know what the fuck this guy's doing. Deej has a fucking pipe, a tobacco pipe. He's smoking a tobacco pipe in the middle of the studio. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else I even recognize. Is that DMG with the orange beanie up there? What's going on here?
Visionaries. How did that happen? What caused Bungie's greatest minds to walk away? Well, to fully understand, we need to look beyond Halo and explore what came next. When Bungie released Halo Reach. Now, when Bungie released Halo Reach, they stepped into a new era. They were finally free from Microsoft. They were an independent studio once again. But that independence came with a price. Halo was beloved by the community, but its development was brutally demanding. Bungie, for all of its success, was no stranger to intense crunch. And years of overtime took a pretty serious toll on its developers. Marcus Leto put it this way: one of the reasons I left Bungie is that many of us have seen the bad side of extended crunch periods that would go on for months and months, and what kind of human toll that took. Even with the intense crunch periods, much of Bungie's core talent, the so-called dream team, was still intact. Fans still had huge expectations, and the studio itself was determined to deliver something groundbreaking, following their Halo swan song with Reach. And that game was Destiny. Yeah, freedom isn't always that freeing. With no more Microsoft backing, Bungie needed a new partner if they were going to fund this big project. So in 2010, they announced a massive 10-year exclusivity deal with Activision. This was going to be a decade-long deal built around a new franchise that Bungie hoped would rival the impact of Halo. Internally codenamed Tiger, this project was the beginning of Destiny. Destiny wasn't just
So that's when they began creating the Tiger engine. Interesting.
another shooter. It was this ambitious MMO shooter hybrid thing. Imagine Halo meets World of Warcraft. At least that's how they described it back then. Expectations soared. Bungie COO Pete Parsons set the bar incredibly high, saying, "We want people to put Destiny's universe on the same shelf as they put Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, or Star Wars."
That's goated right there. Now we got our Star Wars collab. When's the Harry Potter collab? You know what I'm saying? I want that Voldemort skin with the Harry Potter collab. Warlocks get Voldemort. Titans get to be Harry Potter. And Hunters can be Hermione. Let's go. The Harry Potter collab that we needed. Lord of the Rings collab. Lord of the Rings collab. Dude. Lord of the Rings. Titans are Gimli. Fucking Hunters Legolas. Oh, hell yeah. Warlock is Gandalf, dude. Dude, Lord of the Rings collaboration. Warlocks are literally Gandalf. Hunters Legolas. Titans Gimli. Make that collab happen. That's crazy. The Destiny universe had potential to be on the shelf as Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and Star Wars. Unfortunately, it fell short. It fell, especially narratively, it fell like a million miles short. But in terms of overall impact, I mean, here's the thing. Bungie's worth $3.6 billion. How much is Lord of the Rings worth? This is an interesting question. How much is Lord of the Rings worth? Net worth. I don't even know if you could fucking calculate that money. Lord of the Rings made almost $3 billion. The hell? Goddamn. Dwarf Titans, dude? Yeah.
Talk about ambitious. But when Destiny finally released, players immediately sensed something was off. Let's get one thing clear. Destiny's gameplay was genuinely great. Bungie's tight controls, that satisfying gunplay, and those addictive missions were all there. The stuff they were really good at. But the story, it barely felt present at all. The writing fell flat. The voice acting felt disconnected, almost lifeless. Even with a heavyweight actor like Peter Dinklage voicing a main character, it felt hollow.
To be fair, I'm going to get canceled for this one. I'm going to get canceled for this one. Peter Dinklage, not the best voice actor. Look, unpopular opinion. Not the best voice actor. I appreciate him as an OG for the Ghost, and I kind of like when things stay the same voice, but it wasn't very good voice acting. It was about as monotone as it gets. I don't think you remember it. Let me go here. Let me pull this up. Let me see if I can dredge somewhere in the fucking, let's go here. Peter Dinklage, Destiny Ghost. Listen and listen critically. Don't listen with a bias.
We may want to move back. We've woken the hive.
That's not that. Listen, love Tyrion Lannister. Dinklage, he's cool. All right? He's cool. His voice acting leaves something to be desired, though. We've woken the hive. Like, it was iconic at the time because it was like, you had to listen to this a lot when we farmed this mission. But he's no fucking Shax. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if I can find some other clips of this. Peter Dinklage, Destiny Ghost lines.
Can't we just stay here with the murderous robots?
No, little light.
Don't do that.
I'm so happy someone made this. This is awesome.
Here we go. Let's fight our way into their warbase.
If that isn't awe-inspiring, if that just doesn't fucking hit the fucking war drums for you, dude, and get you fucking going, like your blood pumping, dude, I don't know what will, dude. That's crazy.
Here we go. Let's fight our way into their warbase.
God damn. And people will die on this hill and be like, dude, Dinklebot was the fucking go. It was the best. The voice lines were incredible. 10 out of 10. We need him back. That's what saves the game. We need Destiny 3 and we need Dinklebot. Destiny 3 is trash without Dinklebot. That's what people will say.
I hope you're ready for this. I'm picking up fallen activity. Heavier than normal. Something's got them worked up. I'll stay on it. The shrine. It was communing with something out there. Their god or king. Well, not anymore. Access key. I don't need an access key. DOS is more complicated. No. I think I initiated a failsafe. I guess that was their failsafe.
It's bad, guys. It's very bad. Listen, we have some rose-colored glasses about some things in Destiny 1. I want to set the record straight. Dinklebot was bad. Listen, cancel me. Cancel me all you want. Dinklebot sucked.
It felt hollow. This wasn't the Bungie fans knew. Destiny lacked that emotional punch, that charm, that that unmistakable storytelling magic. Why? Joseph Staten. Joseph was the narrative heart of Halo. So naturally, Bungie had him crafting Destiny's universe and story too. And after years of work, Staten finally showed senior leadership, including Jason Jones, a 2-hour supercut of Destiny's story. They hated it. Bungie's leadership felt it was too linear, too campy, too unlike the MMO vision Jason Jones had.
I want that re-released. I want that whole campaign fully re-released. Destiny 1 remastered with the unreleased campaign. Now we're cooking. With that linear campaign that they hated so much. Give me that. Destiny 1 re-released on PC, remastered, the actual campaign that they wrote. Give me that.
Some Bungie devs loved it, others disagreed strongly. But what mattered was Jason Jones' opinion, and he was not a fan. They scraped almost everything Staten created. Years of work from one of the most talented writers in the industry was gone in an instant. They kept basic world building, but the core plot, completely rewritten. One problem though, Destiny was releasing it in just a year. They didn't have the time to write something new, something good, something to actually really rival Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or any of those stories. That didn't stop them. So Jason Jones formed Iron Bar.
So they phoned it in, is what you're saying. They had an iconic writer. They had the best of the best. They had an unlimited budget. They had deep pockets. They had Halo money. And he wrote an incredible narrative. A narrative that probably would have been awe-inspiring. And they said, scrap that shit. We're about to phone this in at the last minute. In the fourth quarter, we're going to throw it together. Let us cook. And we got the Destiny 1 narrative, which was hot dog water.
Group of top leaders tasked with rapidly creating a new non-linear narrative. Characters were rearranged, major characters became minor, missions were cut or merged. One of Bungie's employees anonymously described the frantic rewrite as the priority was, hey, we have a bunch of content that we've spent millions of dollars on. We need to cobble it together in a way that is not going to break continuity. And we've got to do it quick.
That hurts. That quote sucks. That hurts.
Missions were repurposed in a matter of months, and one dev bluntly described it as literally like making a Frankenstory. This story was no Star Wars. This was no Harry Potter. This was not Lord of the Rings, I can promise you. It was rushed.
It was Concord.
It was messy, and everyone knew it. Staten naturally was pissed. His team had been sidelined. The narrative was rewritten without the writers. The writing team Joe put together was ostracized. The story really was written without people that knew what they were doing. And side note, as a writer myself, this pisses me off. It's an example of non-creatives thinking they know better than the experts. So not surprisingly, Joseph Staten left Bungie. But Joseph Staten wasn't the only creative clashing with Bungie's management.
Damn, man, he's just straight left after that too. I mean, I guess he probably would, right? But that's crazy.
Composer Marty O'Donnell had worked tirelessly with Michael Salvatore and even Beatles legend Paul McCartney on this.
Marty O'Donnell, Michael Salvatore, and Paul McCartney in the same room developing the music for Destiny. That's how we got where we're at.
Special music suite for Destiny called Music of the Spheres. This epic composition was meant to debut with Destiny's trailer at E3 2013. But instead, at the last moment, Activision replaced the music of Paul McCartney and Marty O'Donnell with their own. Activision somehow thought they knew music better than one of the Beatles and the composer of Halo. Marty,
I just need a minute. I need a minute.
Saw this as a betrayal, obviously, an overreach by Activision, stating, I think we have an agreement with the fans that when we show the fans something, we're showing them Bungie's work. So obviously he was angry enough and pissed enough to publicly tweet about it, stating, to be clear, the official Destiny E3 game trailer was not made by Bungie. It was made by the company that brought you Call of Duty. This tweet had fewer than 20 likes.
Pug, thank you for the tier 1 13 months. Let's go.
Nobody saw this, but it rattled Bungie's leadership. Marty was suddenly seen as a PR liability. And then the final straw, Marty tweeted again. I'm saddened to say that Bungie's board of directors terminated me without cause on April 11th, 2014. A bitter lawsuit followed over unpaid wages and shares. Marty eventually
That's crazy.
won, but his time at Bungie.
And Marty won that one, which is actually crazy to think about. I never thought, when you think about Bungie's legal battles, you mostly think of them winning, but it's crazy they straight lost that one against him.
Bungie was over. Staten and Marty, two creative giants, were now gone. Yet Destiny, it continued. New iterations, expansions came, and Bungie tried to fix the damage they had created. But the cracks left by incredible talent leaving didn't heal, and internally things just continued to snowball. They continued to deteriorate. Now, crunch wasn't new to Bungie. It was the reason Alex Seropian and Mark Izletto both left. But Destiny took crunch to a whole new level. Why? Because Destiny wasn't just a shooter. It was also an MMO. And you know what MMOs need? Constant updates. Yep.
Yes, live service. They need updates. That's why the game turned to live service. It's interesting that they launched the game box service to only turn it into live service, kind of knowing it was going to be an MMO anyways. It's a really bizarre approach, right? You're like, you launch an MMO game, no updates, and then you're like, oh yeah, I guess we probably do need to like make this live service like the other MMOs.
DLCs, you have seasonal events, you have expansions, content had to keep flowing, no matter what. Activision, known for pushing studios to their limits, hovered over Bungie, demanding results, more content, tighter deadlines. The pressure was relentless. Destiny's release kept getting pushed back from 2013 to March of 2014, and finally releasing on September of 2014. And even after the launch, Bungie couldn't breathe. Crunch continued for the first 2 DLCs, and then into the expansions, which got smaller and smaller with every iteration. Take the Taken King, originally planned as a massive update, featuring an entirely new planet and an expansive area on Earth and tons of more content. But over time, that vision shrank drastically, ending up as just one new location, the Dreadnought. Still impressive, but
Goated location.
far from the ambitious plans Bungie initially had. Why was this happening? The first problem was their technology. The game engine and tools Bungie built Destiny on were an absolute nightmare. One insider vividly described it this way. Let's say a designer wants to move a resource node 2 inches. They first have to load their map overnight, literally 8 hours to import. Then if that didn't fail, it would take another 20 minutes to open the map. After moving the node 2 inches, another 20-minute compile followed. All of that for a half-second change.
Wow.
Worse still, Bungie
That sounds insane, dude. The Tiger engine is cooked if that's actually how difficult it is to change things. Obviously, they changed and revamped everything with Beyond Light, and that did fuck with the lighting quite a bit. So you can see why they did that with Beyond Light, though. Like, the downside is all the lighting is messed up for, like, the pre-Beyond Light maps and areas. But damn.
had a contract bonus from Activision tied to Destiny getting a 90% Metacritic score, which is hard as hell to get, I might add. And Destiny landed around 77%, missing that mark and costing Bungie millions. Around this time, Bungie CEO Harold Ryan quietly exited. Some were excited to see him leave, others were sad. Regardless of the feelings, the tension between Bungie and Activision only grew deeper. Then came the release of Forsaken expansion in 2018.
We just skipped the launch of Destiny 2. He skipped right past the freaking the juicy stuff, you know? Obviously Destiny 2's launch and criticism was something for the record books, but we're going straight to Forsaken, I guess.
Bungie thought it was their best work yet, but Activision disagreed. In an earnings call, Activision expressed dissatisfaction, promising investors a faster content model and more aggressive monetization. It wasn't clear exactly what that meant for Bungie, but it definitely wasn't good. And it probably didn't help that they had Bobby Beluga breathing down their neck. Things finally reached a breaking point. In 2019, Bungie announced something huge after 8 long, complicated years. They were splitting with Activision, and Bungie would keep the rights to Destiny. They were free. With that newfound freedom, Bungie secured a major $100 million investment from NetEase for a brand new IP. Bungie finally got this breathing room and capital they needed to be their own studio. But deep-rooted leadership problems still linger.
They got $100 million from NetEase for the Destiny Rising.
And not long after Bungie parted with Activision, Sony stepped in and bought Bungie for a whopping $3.7 billion. It seems odd to make that deal when all you've been dying for is freedom for almost 20 years. But Sony's deal came.
That's what I was saying. PlayStation Bungie deal, I was like, I thought we were trying to be free. Why are we selling now? Like, we're free just so we can sell again?
With a unique twist. Bungie.
And then what will happen is Bungie will become free from PlayStation. Like, if Bungie announced that they're like, we're tired of PlayStation breathing down our necks, we're going independent again, everyone will cheer again. And I'm going to be like confused, like, wait a minute, like, they didn't make you make all those bad decisions though. So like, what are we cheering again? Hey, it's so weird. Some of these decisions and the things that we cheer for sometimes really perplex me.
Would be an independent subsidiary and remain fully autonomous. They could self-publish, and crucially, there would be no console exclusivity. On paper, this was the perfect scenario. Sony's resources, no Activision oppressive oversight, no Bobby, but unfortunately, things weren't perfect. Over the next couple years, Bungie consistently missed financial targets. Destiny 2's expansions like Lightfall drastically underperformed, falling 45% short of projections. So
45% short. Jeez.
Bungie laid off.
Imagine the timeline where Lightfall delivered, you know? We'd be in the golden age right now. Okay? We'd have 8 subclasses right now.
100 employees, around 8% of their studio. Then their final expansion, the Final Shape, performed even worse. So came even more cuts. CEO Pete Parsons announced, today, 220 of our roles will be eliminated, representing roughly 17% of our studio's workforce. In the same breath of making these layoffs, Parson also said, today our focus is on supporting our people. Those statements were hollow as hell to employees who are walking their livelihood out the door, especially considering Parsons had just spent $2.3 million on classic cars and even locked his Twitter account after announcing the layoffs.
He locked it for like 10 minutes. I'm not sure why that happened though. But yeah, he did lock it for like 10 minutes, but then he unlocked it.
Doesn't look good. And amid these layoffs, the remaining Bungie veterans finally left the company. Michael Salvatore, legendary co-composer of Halo soundtrack alongside Marty, was fired. Lorraine McLeese, the artist behind the iconic Halo logo, was also let go. Fans were obviously outraged. They were confused and saddened. How had Bungie, this iconic, incredible studio, fallen so far? What was happening? Previously, fans blamed Activision, and before that, Microsoft, me included. I always blamed them for why and these downfalls and whatever's going on. But this time, the mess couldn't be pinned on Sony like it had been in the past on Activision and Microsoft. This was Bungie's doing. They were independently screwing themselves. Internally, Bungie's leaders had grossly overestimated their financial success when selling to Sony. And it explained why expansions like Lightfall fell so dramatically short of projections. But even worse, Bungie had secretly been developing 2 new IPs, Marathon and Matter, further straining resources. Layoffs weren't just reactive, they were planned. Even if Destiny's final expansion had blockbuster success, those cuts were still coming. And it gets worse. If Bungie can't stabilize financially, Sony gets to step in and fully take over the studio. That's part of their contract. That independence, that freedom that they've supposedly wanted for 2 decades, gone. If the studio does not reach certain financial goals, Sony can dissolve the split board and take full control. In hindsight, I think Sony drastically overpaid for Bungie. Sony bought
Definitely. That cannot be understated.
Bungie for $3.7 billion. By comparison, Insomniac Games, a hugely successful studio, was purchased for $229 million. Why the discrepancy? Well, it happened during a frenzy of studio acquisitions. I mean, Microsoft was just buying everything at the time. So Sony reacted by trying to get something. So they bought Bungie. But in another timeline, without Sony stepping in, I think Bungie might have gone under. The real problem wasn't just bad financial forecasting or external pressure, it was deeper. Bungie has always made legendary games, often under awful conditions, right? Relentless crunch, tight deadlines, and broken content pipelines. Bungie had always struggled with scale. Jason Jones himself described Halo's development as buckets of blood. The initial scope of Halo 2 was massive but had to be dramatically scaled back. That issue has never been fixed, and it drove away so many key developers in the early years and then even in the later years. Even before Destiny, at its heart, Bungie was a studio that thrived creatively when it was small and rebellious, but it struggled as it scaled into a corporate giant. Leadership and talent clashed. Jason Jones wanted Destiny as a social MMO sandbox. Joseph Staten envisioned a cinematic, narrative-driven epic. Activision tossed aside Marty and Salvatore's painstaking crafted soundtrack. The executives never found compromise. They didn't listen to their talent, so the vision fragmented and the studio fractured. Bungie sacrificed creative vision for short-term gains, losing their cultural impact along the way. Players didn't care about Bungie because of their deals. They cared about the creativity, the vision, the people behind the studio. Bungie forgot that. So the question now is, after all this fallout, where did Bungie's legendary team go? The original Bungie team didn't vanish. They scattered, taking their vision and talent with them. Alex Seropian, Bungie's original founder, went on to build multiple studios, including Wide Load Games, Industrial Toys, and now Look North World.
He's made other gaming studios? What the hell? He made Bungie, sold it to Microsoft, left, made other studios? What other games is Alex Seropian making? We need to do some research into this.
Where he's still currently CEO. He's still passionate and still innovating, and very much in the game industry. Marty O'Donnell, the composer behind Halo's music, founded Highwire Games, alongside Jamie Greisemer, the man who shaped Halo's groundbreaking gameplay. Marty serves as the studio's creative director, bringing that classic Bungie spirit to their projects. Max Hoberman, who originally shaped Halo's multiplayer experience, founded Certain Affinity in 2006. Nearly 20 years later, that studio has grown to over 200 developers, continue to support massive franchises like Halo and Call of Duty. Joseph Staten, who gave Halo its narrative soul, now leads as creative director at Netflix Games. After his short
creative director at Netflix Games? Oh, hell no.
At 343. He's now shaping new worlds and an entirely different landscape. Marcus Leto, the father of Master Chief, moved too. First founding V1 Interactive and now serving as a studio vice president at EA Battlefield, helping to shape the next era of AAA shooters.
What the hell?
Harold Ryan, who served as Bungie's president during their turbulent Activision years, founded Probably Monsters, a unique game studio incubator, investing in new IPs.
Everyone just leaves and starts their own studio. I see the problem here. They go into a studio, they make crazy money, and they're like, fuck you guys. I'm rich. I'm gonna do it myself. And they make their own game studio. There's too much splitting. Everyone's splitting, split. Every person that worked for Bungie said, fuck you. And they're making their own game now. Now we've got 1 million games that are mid.
And prioritizing healthy work cultures to avoid Bungie's pitfalls. Even Mike Zack, an art director who helped define Halo's visual identity, joined 343 Industries to keep shaping the Halo universe at Microsoft. All these Bungie veterans, and many more I didn't list, moved on. They have continued to make meaningful impacts elsewhere. The industry recognized their value, even if Bungie itself seemed to forget. And yet, one person remains notably at Bungie, Jason Jones, the other...
Where is this man? I need APB out for Jason Jones. Where has this man been?
Original founder. He's still quietly working behind the scenes, but his studio, the Bungie of today, is unrecognizable compared to the legendary team he once helped build. And I wonder if he cares. This Bungie, the one that gave us Halo, that defined generations, that changed gaming forever, it's gone. The logo is the same, but the team behind it has fundamentally changed. And that brings us to now, Bungie's upcoming revival of Marathon, a groundbreaking series that defined the studio in its earliest days, long before Halo. Now Bungie is bringing it back, but this version isn't a continuation of the original story-driven experience. Instead, it's being rebooted as a multiplayer extraction shooter, leaning into current gaming trends rather than the single-player storytelling Bungie once mastered. Fans are skeptical, and for good reason. After Destiny's rocky path, the layoffs, the leadership struggles, and the creative disconnect, expectations for Marathon are pretty mixed at best, especially with a lot of the crazy stuff that's been going on lately. The core issue that fractured Bungie for years remains: the conflict between creative vision and corporate vision. Without the original creative team, without Staten's storytelling, without Marty's iconic music, or Marcus' visual design, or Mac's multiplayer brilliance, there's genuine concern over whether Bungie can deliver something truly special again. Marathon isn't just Bungie's next game, it's a test. It's Bungie's chance to prove if they still have that original magic. But everything we've discussed, the departures, the struggles, the crunch, the layoffs, it makes it really hard to believe Marathon can truly recapture what made Bungie great. The studio we once knew,
Test failed, Marathon cooked.
the one responsible for some of gaming's greatest moments, now seems more focused on surviving than innovating. And maybe that's the harsh reality of it all. The Bungie making Marathon today isn't the Bungie we fell in love with. That legendary team is gone, making their mark elsewhere. And because of that, it's hard to see Marathon being the return to form we've all been hoping for. Bungie, one of my favorite developers, and probably one of your favorite developers, is gone. But remember, many of those talented people are still making games. We have even more great new indie studios rising to fill that gap of Bungie. Go support them. So many indies are making awesome stuff. I don't have the ability to show love to all the games and the studios that reach out to me, and there's a lot. I wish I could do better, but for this indie game highlight, here's a list of studios and games.
I never heard of any of these games. What the hell? These are all former Bungie higher-ups creating their own studios and creating these games. Pacific Drive, The Plucky Squire, Animal Well, Blantro, Nine Souls.
That have been released in the past year that are truly awesome. Pick one, go support the next Bungie. And as a developer myself, having just released my own game in early access, I know how hard it is to make games. And if you are at all interested in making a game yourself, you should check out Brilliant. They have been backing.
Oh, the ad. All right. He cooked. It was a good video. Plagiarism started. Bungie and plagiarism will kill it. The Gnop killed me, actually. I did not expect Gnop to be their first game ever. Just Pong backwards. I'm still so surprised. I was there. I was knee deep in it, talking to all the Bungie devs when the Battle Royale boom happened. And the Bungie devs said clearly and emphatically, hold up. We don't need to make a Battle Royale. We're going to be cooking something bigger, something better. Just wait and see. It's called Gambit. That's what they told me. Battle Royale, Schmattle Royale. Just wait till you see this new game mode we're working on. It's called Gambit. When the world sees this is going to put us on the map. This is going to be the next big thing, right? They're going to say, Destiny what? Halo who? oh, Bungie, they're the guys that made Gambit. That's how confident they were in Gambit. I am not joking. They didn't literally say that. They said they wouldn't shut up about it. They're like, you streamers are going to really want to play this. This is what they said specifically. They said streamers are going to really want to play this. It's going to be a very streamable playlist. People will want to watch this. No one streams Gambit. There's not a human alive that streams Gambit now, that unless they're doing it for a meme. And Bungie was so confident. Gambit was Bungie's battle royale. Gambit was to Bungie what Fortnite is to Epic Games. Think about the difference. The two timelines happened exactly at the same time. The development of Gambit, the decision to develop Gambit, and the rise of Battle Royale. Not everyone here watching this gives a shit about Battle Royale. Most of you out there, probably 100% of you out there, probably don't even care about Fortnite or any Battle Royale. But can we at least agree on one thing? Battle Royale would have been better than Gambit. If anything, can we at least agree on that? If we can't, then there's nothing left I have to say here. Until Bungie puts Destiny on a dedicated server, the game will never prosper. Listen, Marathon has dedicated servers. Destiny 2 does not have dedicated servers. If Marathon dies, can we take the dedicated servers and put them into Destiny 2? It's like that Patrick meme where Patrick's like, let's take Bikini Bottom and move it somewhere else. Let's take those dedicated servers and let's move them on over here to Destiny 2. I don't think that's actually how game development works, but as a semi-unprofessional armchair developer, that is my theory that I'm posing here.